Hey, what's up everyone? Just a quick update on the Aurora that I just started working on not too long ago, now that the RXs are all done. But making some good progress here. Actually, quite a bit of progress. There's not a whole lot left to do, but basically I've got this all kind of taken apart, the back panels off, the doors off, and you kind of need to do that when you work on these because everything is just so tightly crammed in here, and it just makes things way easier. Unlike the RXs that have all that space for you to work with, but these you really do need to dive in and kind of dismantle everything. But let's see, what's been done here? Well, let's see, upgraded the hard drive to a solid state. Replaced both these fans with better ones, quieter ones. The airflow is slightly less than the originals, and that's okay because as you remember before, I have already replaced the old Asus board with the Intel, and that runs much quieter and also cooler. There's not as much real estate, so you can get away with a little bit less airflow, and there's not much. I mean, I think this original fan put out 11 cubic feet a minute, and this one does like 8 something. Not a huge difference, but the decibels, it's almost half as quiet as the other one, so much quieter. This one's quieter too, but does about the same, about like 4, and this is just the intake. There's one intake, and then there's one exhaust. So that's done. Upgraded the memory like I always do. Hard drives installed. I put a little tiny better fan in there. Almost the same airflow, just quieter. And then, oh wait, no, both of the speakers were blown. Happens all the time. Usually, I'm guessing it's because when these are in the bars and it's a loud environment, they crank the volume way up, and it doesn't take much to blow I mean, these are full range speakers. It doesn't take much to blow the low end of them. So like the bassy stuff, you'll hear it just being blown out. So these are new speakers. In fact, I found exact replacements for the original ones. You can't get the original ones anymore, but these are pretty much a one-to-one exact replacement. And they're a little bit pricier. I want to say they're like 10 bucks each, but you know, that's not bad. And you don't have a lot of options given the compressed real estate that you're dealing with here. So that's all done. This fan up here, which I'm not sure why it's not spinning. I'll have to look. I bet a Molex came undone. But I cleaned this guy out. This at least was working. I do have replacements for this, but yeah, I should check on that one. But I did do just a clean out because this was working just fine. It's not that noisy, and that's the main exhaust going out. So I'll look at that here in a second. But yeah, the speakers are done. Oh, and then just a ton of cable management. I think I took some video, but basically this is always a mess. You pull this out, it doesn't matter if they did some sort of cable management, it's usually a nightmare. And then of course, to get at any of this stuff, you have to cut all these zip ties. And so you end up with just a rat's nest. I'll show you some footage of what it looked like, and then of course afterwards, but it is a nightmare. And you really need to take some time to do cable management for 2 reasons. One, in order to get this back inside the case, everything needs to be tightly compact. And sometimes people just shove everything in there, and then you end up with cables that get crimped or damaged, and things just don't go right. But the biggest issue with not doing that is airflow. So by cleaning up all the cables and everything like that, there's a lot more room for the air to move through there. You don't end up with heating issues like you normally would. It just makes a world of a difference. So it's worth taking that time to tidy everything up. So yeah, what's left? Well, first off, I need to get everything back in here. I need to put a lock on, get the panel and the door on. But as far as like major things left to do, really it's this joystick here. All of these just get real loose, like you can see here, and they don't center properly. And that's because, well, one, it's a bad design, but two, the rubber joystick itself and the plastic piece, this is all one unit together. The actual shaft underneath is a metal rod, and that slides into a little groove, a little plastic groove just underneath this this rubber piece here, and that's what holds it together. But that gets worn really quick. You know, it doesn't take much, and again, it's a dumb design. But once that gets worn, then yeah, you have all this extra play in here, and it just doesn't look like it centers properly. It's just loosey-goosey and ugly. And what I did with mine over here the last time, I used some mold making supplies I have left over from when I was working on my Wonka pinball. And basically what I do is I take this all apart, and that spot where it holds the shaft, I basically just make a mold. I use some real heavy-duty resin that gets very, very hard, and it's way more rugged and robust than the plastic that's underneath here. And I'll show you that in the next video. And basically, you make a mold around that shaft, and then everything's nice and tight and smooth and much better. So that's the biggest thing that's left to do here, and then just a pile of TLC. Oh, and by the way, the fluorescent bulb in here started working, and I think what ended up happening was there was, wherever that power plug comes, it was just a little bit loose, and so everything's fine. It just wasn't getting adequate power. So that's all good. That's nice because I don't have to hunt for that. But otherwise, it's just mostly the joystick and a lot of TLC, and then this guy will be ready to go. So super excited, and I should have then 4 Megatouch Ions, 1 Aurora and 3 RXs. So really pleased with how this is going. But yeah, I think there'll just be 1, maybe 2 more video blogs, and then we're done. So that's the quick update for the Aurora. And yeah, I'm gonna take a look at this this fan here, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog. All right, later. All right, well, figured it out. Didn't take me long. I accidentally snipped, you see this plug here? Snipped that wire. It must have happened when I was cutting through a bunch of these zip ties, and whoops. So yeah, there's your problem. But that's an easy fix. So I'll just patch that wire up, and then we should have this fan back up and running. But yeah, it's always a pain in the butt because you get everything all nice and tidy, right? And then you have to cut all those zip ties just to fix something, and then tidy it all back up. But not the end of the world. So I'm gonna do that, and then yeah, we'll get this fan back up and running.